Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Power Tech. Today we'll be discussing the topic of compliance in power supplies. This is an area of high importance as regulations and standards exist to ensure that power supplies are safe, reliable, and efficient. Let's start by having a basic overview of compliance in power supplies. So, compliance refers to the process of ensuring that a power supply meets or exceeds industry standards and regulations. This includes standards for safety, energy efficiency, electromagnetic compatibility, and environmental impact, among others. So why is compliance important for power supplies? Compliance is important for several reasons. Firstly, it helps to ensure the safety of the users and the environment. For example, standards for safety can help to prevent electrical shock or fire. Secondly, compliance helps to ensure the reliability and performance of power supplies. By following industry standards, manufacturers can ensure that their products will work as expected and last longer. Finally, compliance helps to protect the interests of the manufacturer. By following industry standards, manufacturers can reduce the risk of product recalls, legal action, and damage to their reputation. Let's dive a little deeper into the different types of compliance. Here's a brief overview of some of the most common types. One of the most well-known standards is UL, or Underwriter Laboratories. This is a global safety science organization that tests and certifies products for safety. Another common standard is the Energy Star program, which is a joint program of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the Department of Energy. This program promotes energy efficiency and helps to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Another important standard is the CE marking, which is mandatory for products sold in the European Economic Area. This marking certifies that the product meets all relevant EU regulations for safety, health, and environmental protection. It's important to note that there are many other safety standards and regulations that may apply to power supplies, depending on the specific product and market. So what is the compliance process for a power supply manufacturer? The compliance process typically begins with the manufacturer identifying the relevant standards and regulations that apply to their product. They then perform testing and verification to ensure that the product meets these standards. For example, they may perform safety testing to ensure that the product does not pose a risk of electrical shock or fire. They may also perform energy efficiency testing to ensure that the product meets Energy Star requirements. Once a manufacturer has completed the necessary testing and verification, they can apply for certification. This typically involves submitting test reports and documentation to the certification body, such as UL or CE. The certification body will then review the documentation and perform their own testing to verify the manufacturer's claims. Once the certification body has granted certification, the manufacturer can then apply the appropriate marks or labels to their product. They can then sell the product in the relevant market, confident that it meets all relevant standards and regulations. Let's take a quick look at some industry-specific standards. There are several key standards for defense in power supplies, including the MIL Standard 810, 1275, and 704. These standards cover a range of requirements from environmental conditions to electrical performance. MIL Standard 810 covers the environmental requirements for power supplies, including temperature, humidity, shock, and vibration, whereas 1275 covers the electrical requirements for power supplies used in vehicles, including startup, voltage transients, and voltage sag. And MIL Standard 704 covers the electrical requirements for power supplies used in aircrafts, including voltage and current levels, power factor, and harmonic distortion. Power supplies used in military and defense applications need to be highly reliable and able to function in harsh environments. If a power supply fails in the field, it could have serious consequences, from loss of communication to equipment damage. By meeting the defense standards, power supplies can ensure that they perform their critical functions even in the most challenging conditions. Another interesting standard is the SEMI F47 standard. It's developed by the Semiconductor Equipment and Materials International Organization. Although it's intended to be used with semiconductor equipment, many other industries favor power supplies with SEMI F47 compliance. Key features: SEMI F47 power supplies comply with international safety standards, ensuring the safety of equipment and personnel. High efficiency: these power supplies are designed to be highly efficient, reducing energy consumption and improving overall energy utilization. Reliability: Semi-F47 power supplies are designed to operate in harsh semiconductor manufacturing environments and are built to withstand high temperatures and other demanding conditions. Downtime reduction. The consistent and reliable power provided by these power supplies helps to reduce downtime and improve production efficiency. Thank you for joining us today. That's it for today's episode of podcast. I hope you found it informative and helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out at mo@displaytechnology.co.uk. Look forward to seeing you next week.